So we're approaching the end of February now, and we've got some information about the upcoming Assassin's Creed Origins expansion, The Curse of the Pharaohs. So I thought, why not get back into the swing of it and take a look and see what's going on, basically. I don't know. This was a good idea for my ad revenue. Being self-aware isn't enough anymore. Let's just get into the news. So, I'll leave a link to the source in the description if you want to go ahead and check it out for yourself. The Curse of the Pharaohs takes Bayek to find a mysterious artifact in Thebes, where he immediately runs into much more than he bargained for. Instead of the mortal and deceitful Order of the Ancients, he finds undead pharaohs materialising in the streets and slaughtering civilians. In standard assassin fashion, Bayek goes, "Hang on a cheeky minute, what the fuck is this?" and sets off on a quest to put an end to the Pharaoh's curse, as the locals call it. The curse likely has something to do with all the grave robbers treating the Valley of the Kings like a strip mine for antiquities, forcing Bayek to hunt down key artifacts linked to each pharaoh in order to put them to rest. So instead of winding up hunting another mysterious organisation like in the Hidden Ones DLC and the main game, the DLC story will have a different pace entirely, because we'll basically be fighting either grave robbers or really nasty spirits, which will be a different interesting adventure for Bayek to go on. The Curse of the Pharaohs Map is a vast new territory filled with surprises. There's Thebes, a massive city that boasts famous sites like the temples of Karnak and Luxor. Across the Nile, you'll find the Valley of the Kings, pitted with the plundered tombs of Egyptian royalty. And as he works to quell the spirits of each restless pharaoh, Bayek finds his way into their individual afterlives, which exist as big, self-contained open worlds connected to portals in their tombs. The Egyptian underworld is dazzling and strange, with exotic loot, majestic barges that float across fields of reeds, and mythical creatures that stand sentry against the living. So far, this DLC is sounding pretty huge, which is exciting because a small DLC is over as soon as it starts, which is something I feel as if the Hidden Ones could have done a little better, which is make the DLC larger in the sense of having more stuff to do in it and things like that. It was fine as it is, it just would have probably benefited from a few extra quests and a few extra things to do. This DLC appears to do that, from what we're hearing, so hopefully that problem is solved. Examples of the mythical creatures that roam the afterlife areas: you might run into the Anubis-like guards that patrol the landscape, or worse, the camel-sized scorpions that make hippos and crocodiles look like stuffed animals. Big scary scorpions, be careful boys, this is dangerous shit. All round, this DLC appears to be going in a more mystical direction, with enemies from Egyptian mythology and an entire region that's essentially mythology. All in all, it should be quite interesting, but it does raise the concern about how they'll explain it in canon, although we know the Pieces of Eden can perform some wacky shit, so I'd imagine they'll likely serve as some form of MacGuffin, which would be both disappointing but sensible. Hopefully they come up with an interesting, logical explanation for everything to be going on. The afterlife areas will be open for fast travel once you've discovered them, and will also work as a crash course in some of the lesser known sides of Egyptian mythology. So these afterlife areas will be accessible outside of quests if you wish to explore them. That'll be quite interesting. Sometimes the threats from the afterlife spill out into the living world, and the shadows of the pharaohs are the first and most threatening example you'll encounter. The shadows are physical manifestations of the undead pharaohs, and every so often they'll randomly appear as time-limited bosses and go on a rampage. When you get the heads up that one is loose in the world, you'll have a brief window of time in which to track them down and temporarily send them back to where they came from. Defeat them before they decide to return on their own, and you'll earn loot and save a few civilians. But be warned, they're extremely resilient and can deal a lot of damage, making them a challenge even for the highest level players. And when you confront them in the afterlife, the final step in putting them to rest, they're far more powerful than they are in the living world, able to soak up tons of damage and annihilate Bayek's health within one or two special attacks. So be ready for some of the toughest fights in the game. From the sound of it, it seems to be the case that the boss fights are going to be much tougher than those in the base game or the Hidden Ones DLC, which means that this DLC is going to be a challenge all around, which is exciting. So if you struggle with the file X or anything, you'd best get practicing. As we already know, Bayek's level cap has been raised to 55. Along with it, there will be 7 new abilities that can be unlocked. Some of these are buffs to other abilities like Dash Boost, which rewards perfect dodges with a damage boost. There's also Overpower Fury, which heals Bayek and removes any status ailments when he unleashes an adrenaline-charged overpower attack. 4 new archery abilities that make Bayek's bows even more versatile, as he can now infect predator bow kills with flesh decay, pierce shields with fully charged hunter bow shots, get more damage out of his light bows by scoring consecutive hits, or inflict bleed damage on any targets who survive his warrior bow blast. Finally, Favour of Osiris rewards you for spending time in the afterlife by gradually refilling Bayek's tools and arrows while he's there. In total, these abilities will cost 15 skill points to unlock. This DLC appears to have more gameplay depth than the Hidden Ones DLC, which was just a new area with some new quests and a small level cap raise. This makes me think that the Curse of the Pharaohs DLC is the bigger DLC, which is exciting to say the least. Moving on, there was a cool little render released of one of the Pharaohs we'll be fighting, Nefertiti. Doesn't really say much, it just looks cool, and I thought I'd throw it in because it's there. The Curse of the Pharaohs expansion will launch on Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and PC on the 13th of March. It's included in the Season Pass for Assassin's Creed Origins, or can be purchased separately for $19.99. So there are two things here. First of all, it seems as if they've put the release date back by about a week, if I recall correctly. That's fine, as far as delays go, I can't really be mad at that one. And then there's the asking price, $19.99. That's a bit more pricey than the Hidden Ones DLC, which means that this DLC is going to be larger because otherwise there's no way to justify charging more. That's fine, if the DLC is worth more then it's just plain worth more. Hopefully it can make good on its price and there won't be any problems. All this info is basically hinting towards the Curse of the Pharaohs DLC being larger than the Hidden Ones DLC, which is one thing I suppose. Obviously take that with a pinch of salt, but that's just how it seems to me. Anyway, come the 13th of March and beyond, we will all find out. But anyway guys, thank you all for watching this video, I hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share, comment, let me know what you think about all this stuff down in the comment section as that's what it's there for, and I'll see you all very soon with another video at some point.